Ilia Topuria fights Charles Oliveira for the vacant lightweight title at UFC 317. Now, while I am leaning towards Ilia Topuria to win the fight, a lot of people are thinking that Topuria is going to steamroll Charles Oliveira. And I just simply don't think that's the case. I actually think Charles has a multitude of weapons to give Ilia an incredibly hard fight. So, let's discuss. So, the thing with Topuria is it seems that he thrives in mid-range, right? In mid-boxing range. Close up in the clinch, he's not as good. That's where he can get hit with knees. At distance, he's vulnerable to kicks, high kicks, jabs, that sort of thing. And Oliveira's style is perfectly built for thriving in mid-range and at long range. In the long range, he has an excellent jab. He doesn't use it as much as I think he should, but it's snappy, it's hard, and it's long. He's got good timing on it. He's got really great front kicks, especially to the body. I talked about this in my Charles Oliveira striking breakdown, where he'll constantly dig front kicks in the body, not to just create distance, but to do damage. And against someone like Topuria, who is constantly walking forward, someone that's a little more hunched over, it's actually a perfect weapon to use and to just slowly beat up the body of Topuria, especially because if he starts swinging, you hit him with a nice front kick to the body, that's going to take a good amount of wind out of him. Then there's also the high kick. We've seen Ilia drop the left high kick. Charles has a very good right high kick, but I think he can make use of that. He also has a laser beam of a cross, and I think if Topuria starts to overswing, we've seen that Oliveira has some really good counter punching. One of the best fights he showed this off was against Gaethje, where Gaethje was just constantly overswinging and Charles would just chain together attacks. And I think that could really serve a lot of benefit in this fight. Then there's also the leg kicks, not only to like the calf and the thigh. We saw him use them a bit against Chandler, a bit against Tony. But he has very good like standard low leg kicks. And obviously Ilia, a boxer, constantly moves forward. He's not bouncing around. He's not on his bike a lot. He has one goal in mind, and that's just slowly creep forward. And I think a leg kick, just a solid one from Oliveira, he can do that at a long range as well. That'd be very useful. But also the knee stomp. Charles showed in his rematch against Chandler that he can, beat up the leg multiple different ways. And we've seen a lot of people, particularly Max, been able to knee stomp Topuria quite effectively. And Charles is really good at using that, and especially at controlling distance with that. Now, in close, Charles is really good at getting that collar tie and chaining attacks off of that. This would be a lot easier because Topuria is significantly shorter. So that uppercut that Oliveira uses, he's excellent with the counter uppercut, and he's excellent with just grabbing and throwing it on his own terms. You see him do this against Gaethje a lot and against Poirier a lot, two very good boxers, and he was nailing them with it. And I think because Topuria is quite a bit short and he likes to duck and roll, that would be very useful, and I think he'll land that quite a bit in this fight, and Topuria will have to find a way around that. Not only with the collar tie, he can start going into the clinch and start landing knees to the body. We saw Volkanovski have a lot of success, in the clinch, too far inside to be boxing range, where he was able to land a lot of good knees, and I feel like Oliveira is a lot more deadly with those knees. He really does try to hurt people and take the wind out of people, and against Topuria, someone who has a lot of power. Topuria doesn't typically gas, he can go 5 rounds, but just slamming knees to the body and front kicks to the body is going to slowly take the wind out of him. And Oliveira will also slide in elbows over the top of the head, especially Topuria because he's shorter, and I think those will be really effective. And on the ground, he can threaten Ilia in some way. I think Ilia just shooting a takedown like he did against Max to mix it up won't work against Charles. I think that's a bit ill-advised. But Oliveira does have many skills to beat Oliveira and slowly break him down. The thing that would pose an issue for Oliveira is the fact that his defense isn't really dynamic. He's very much an offensively minded fighter. He keeps a very high guard, and that guard remains static. It's good, but against someone like Topuria who pieces together multiple combinations, who will find openings in the guard, it's going to be very difficult for Oliveira to survive a long time unless he gets those offensive weapons going immediately. It's going to be a fight where whoever's moving forward is winning 10 times out of 10, right? I don't see Oliveira winning on the back foot. I don't see Topuria winning on the back foot. They're both very forward fighters. And when they come together, I do see them getting in a clinch exchange. Now, Topuria could also start drilling body shots to hurt Oliveira, because Oliveira does have such a high guard and eventually can start coming up top with long combinations. And I can see a scenario where Ilia does crack him with some hard shots. But if Ilia can't get those punches off, can't get that respect right away, and Oliveira starts having him on the back foot, he's, taping him to the body, landing good jabs, landing a left hook, getting in close, landing knees, and then moving out of the way, Topuria's going to have a very, very rough night. And I don't think Makhachev was ducking Topuria at all. I think Topuria will actually have quite a difficult time at lightweight, because I think his power's good. I think his technique is also a lot of what makes his power, similar to Jack Della Maddalena. But in a higher weight class, that power's not going to be as pronounced. It's still going to be good, and I think he hits really, really well. But I think the guys at lightweight are just going to be in a position where they can maybe start taking them, right? And he'll, even if he beats Oliveira, I think a guy like Gaethje, a guy like even Holloway at lightweight, when he's not cutting weight, could give him some issues. There's still a lot of guys at lightweight that could give him a lot of problems, but I think this Oliveira matchup will give us a really, really good gauge of where he stands at lightweight. Obviously, because he'll be the champion if he beats Oliveira, but Oliveira is a guy with a very diverse offensive skill set, a guy with a good chin, bad defense, so we can kind of gauge Topuria's power and how he does against bigger lightweights. Because Oliveira, even though he used to be a featherweight, he is a massive lightweight. So it'll give us a good gauge of just how he translates up a weight class. And honestly, Islam was not ducking Topuria. Islam would have dusted up Topuria. It would have been competitive, obviously, but just with the kicks, I think Makhachev has the range that Volkanovski didn't, to just pick apart Topuria. And Makhachev has taken some solid shots and gritted down, and I just simply don't see a realistic scenario where Topuria beats Makhachev. I think JDM is a significantly harder matchup for Makhachev, and the fact that people are criticizing Makhachev for ducking is really quite hilarious. But regardless, I am super excited to see Ilia Topuria up at lightweight against Charles Oliveira. I think it'll be a really, really competitive fight for as long as it lasts. I don't think it'll go long. I think it's one of those fights like the first Chandler versus Oliveira fight where it's really, really competitive. Both fighters have their moments, but then it ends like really early in the second round. I think that's more what's going to happen. And, the more I talk about the matchup, the more I do start to think, Oliveira's actually got a really, really good chance of winning this. So I can't wait to find out. June 28th. Anyway, guys, if you like the breakdown, leave a like, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on the matchup in the comments, and see ya.